Yo guys, welcome to the last lap. Don't forget to drop a lovely, juicy 5-star rating if you're watching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hope you enjoy, and let's get into it.
I want to talk about the comparisons to back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, say 2008 Monaco, it was pretty good by Monaco standards. The race that Dino was referencing was like 2005 Imola, which is a race that's, it's heralded as being this amazing race. Schumacher, Alonso, wheel-to-wheel, right? But actually, in practice, there were I believe 9 overtakes all race.
You know what?
Single figure overtakes.
So what you wanted to get off your chest about changing Monaco, and what I also kind of got off I want to get this off my chest,
Come on.
Stop
with chest.
Fucking, saying the races were good back in the day because the engine sounded nice. Can we please stop doing that?
Yeah, stop chatting the past, man.
Please, because like you said, 9 overtakes. Who cares? And the thing is, if it was, I know why it's heralded as because it was Alonso v Michael Schumacher, and it's a great example of unreal defensive driving. I totally get that. And it was almost like this up-and-comer versus the already established name, calm. The storyline and the context to it is great. But why the fuck do we say that these are good races? They're not. They weren't even alongside each other at any point. It's not like it was a battle. Michael Schumacher just followed him for 30 laps in the dirty air. Calm. The engine sounded nice. The cars looked good. And the drivers are iconic. But the actual racing was shit.
Yeah.
I saw this last year. Someone shared a race at Magny-Cours, the old track in France, obviously. And I think it was 2003 or something like that, whatever. And it was this is proper racing, no DRS, Bruv, there were 8 overtakes. Do you know how many laps there used to be at that track? 8 across the whole race. That's criminal.
Yeah.
And I know not everything in a race is to do with overtaking.
Of course, no.
You know, we've had some races where there's technically 50 overtakes, but there's none that are at the top of the order.
Was 60.
Yeah, and whilst it was better than what we've had this race, it was better than what we've had this season. It wasn't a classic.
No, it wasn't a classic, but it was a good race.
Yeah, because,
This is the thing. The reason it's not a classic is because there wasn't a battle at the front.
Yeah.
There's 20 drivers on the fucking grid. There's not 2. But it's not just about what's happening at the front, man.
But the best part is, these races...
me off.
These races we're meant to be calling iconic. They don't even have battles at the front either. The French one literally didn't have one. Yes, Alonso and Schumacher, calm. They followed each other around for 30 laps. It's not a battle. It's not... realistically, if you went back and watched that race, the only reason you're saying it's good is because of nostalgia. And I don't want to hear anything different.
Yeah.
Because you're not watching it and going, oh my God, that is unbelievable overtaking or crazy racing. They're on the limit. They're on the edge. Absolutely, I get that. Everyone's on the limit and on the edge all the time.
Yeah.
The cars are skating around a bit more because they're not as the downforces and whatever, and it looks a lot better because it's just back in the day. I completely get that.
And the cars are a lot smaller, so they look more nimble.
Yeah, I totally get it from a nostalgia perspective and aesthetically looking great. But going back and saying that's a golden era of Formula One because of the entertainment is just not correct. I'm sorry. And I'm not going to hear otherwise because it just wasn't.
The rose tin is mad. When you think about how,
would you rather, based off principle, get a shit race now, but there's no DRS, so it's not manufactured, or would you rather get a good race, but it's got DRS? Obviously. You'd rather have a good race. I want to be entertained. I don't want to sit here and go, morally speaking, this race wasn't as manufactured as that. I want to sit down and be entertained.
I'm sorry, right? If you plugged DRS into that 2005 Imola Schumacher Alonso battle, it would have been so much better. I think Schumacher would have won, probably, because he was quicker than Alonso at the time. But they would have at least had you would have had an iconic overtake of some kind. You would have had I don't know. I mean, people watch F1 for different reasons. People like certain races for certain reasons. If you enjoyed that race because of Alonso's defensive display, fine, because that was impressive. I could enjoy that in isolation.
But if you're saying that it's entertaining... Because it was a great race. That just can't...
Because the camera's just following them two. Because no one else is doing anything. Because the entire rest of the grid... This is what I mean.
The field spread was so big back then as well.
Yeah, man.
As I said, when I was watching this Monaco race yesterday, I think we were there was a safety car about 10 laps in because someone binned it. I can't remember who it was. Someone binned it and it was a safety car about 10 laps in. The gap between second and third was 13 seconds. Hamilton got a puncture after like 15 laps and pitted and came out fourth. How? That doesn't even make... When I saw that, I remember thinking, oh man, he's got a puncture. He's going to be like 16th when he comes out. No, he was fourth. He was still there. And then the safety car came out and he was back in fourth at like next to the leaders again. I was like, this is crazy. I don't know. I feel like there is a massive element of rose tinted glasses for that era because of how amazing everything looked.
Yeah.
How iconic the drivers were.
The Murray Walker commentary.
Yeah, man, I get it. I have it as well.
This is the generation we grew up with, right?
Yeah.
Like we should be more than anyone.
And those seasons as a whole,
back then.
the culminations of them were great. And you had less shit tracks as well. That's what I will say. Every track felt like an iconic track. The endings of the seasons for like that whole era were fucking mental.
Cars were more unreliable as well.
True, yeah.
So then
there was a lot more of a lottery.
Yeah. Which again, it's like, what do we then artificially make these cars more unreliable? No. The thing is, as the cars get more reliable, as the drivers get better, the standard of the drivers gets better.
Yeah.
Because everyone's now a world champion in some form, has won a championship in some way, shape, or form. That wasn't always the case. Like, that's not like the standard of F1 drivers right now. Again, whether Ocon thinks it's 0.2 between everyone, like maybe, I don't know. Like, as the standard of drivers gets better, as the standard of the cars and the lack of, they're not going to break down as much as the safety of the cars get bigger. You need something like DRS. Like I've kind of gone back and forth with DRS. There was a point where I was like, maybe we should get rid of it. But actually, no. Active aero, which is what DRS is, needs to be a part of Formula racing. Yeah. It needs to be, because otherwise they can't follow, they can't overtake. And that's what I say. Like if you plug DRS onto these old cars in the 90s, you would have got a bit more scrapping. You would still got a massive field spread. But I just think that this generation, and particularly like this season, is getting a bit of a shit rap, right? And I get it. We've not got a fight at the front. And of course, I have as much as anyone, I want to see a scrap at the front. That's going to make a race more iconic. If you've got a scrap for 13th place is never going to be remembered. But it's still, if it's a quality scrap for 13th place, I want to see it.
And the thing is as well, you weren't even guaranteed to get scraps for wins back then either. 2002, Michael Schumacher won the championship in July. Bro.
The summer. The height of summer.
He went IB for afterwards. That's crazy. That's absolutely mental. Winning a championship in July. I know there were less races, but he won it in France. Like, that is insane. Like, Max Verstappen, if Max Verstappen won the championship this year in July, we would go, okay, we've got to seriously sort out Formula One. This is mental.
Yeah.
And I feel like that era gets away with things. On the flip side, playing devil's advocate, I know the concerns that people have about DRS, and that's that it makes overtaking too easy. To an extent, you can just rock up to the back of someone, and then it's a pretty boring in a straight line. But a lot of the moves at Baku, for example, you just blitz past someone in a straight line. It's not exactly difficult to pull out an overtake. It's not hard to an extent. But I think all it needs is balancing. I think all you need is like genuine testing at these tracks to go, right, how long should a DRS zone be so that it's just enough where you can make an overtake, get alongside, but it's not enough to just be able to just blitz past anyone you like as soon as you can. And I think that's not really done to a good enough degree in Formula One half the time. I think sometimes you do end up getting to tracks and either the DRS zone's way too short, so it doesn't do anything, which you can't help sometimes, or the DRS zone is way too long. And then you just get overtakes for the sake of it. And I don't agree with that. That's the one thing I do have a problem with when it comes to DRS.
Look, I'm not saying by far and away, like, I'm not saying the system's perfect. I actually think, I would like to see DRS change where you still pick it up within a second. But then as soon as you move ahead of the car,
it switches off. Yeah.
Because you've got that, still got that momentum that you've picked up from the DRS.
Yeah, but then now it's not quite as, now there's, now it's put you in a position to battle.
Yeah.
That's what it should do.
Yeah.
Rather than put you in a position to just calmly overtake someone. For me, that's what it should be encouraging more.
The cars clearly have the technology because the drivers can only switch it on when they're within 1 second delta.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So as soon as that delta becomes 0.000, then it
switches off.
Closes,
yeah, exactly.
closes.
Yeah. Like, that's actually really. I've never thought about that. That's actually quite cool. Think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, and again, I just think it's when you compare to like touring cars or whatever, right? Other series where there's not anywhere near the aerodynamics you get in Formula One. It's fine. You can go bumper to bumper. You go wheel to wheel. That's just not, unless we are going to move this away from open wheeler, which I don't want to do because I think that's an inherent part of what makes Formula One.
Yeah, of course.
Like the DNA of it, right?
Yeah.
And unless we're going to do that, you just have to accept if you want good racing, you can't have it all. You can't not have the DRS and it be more pure, but then also have really close wheel-to-wheel racing.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that is what we all want first and foremost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Surely. Good, but also, again, for me, it's not just, and I know the broadcast doesn't do a great job sometimes, although Monaco is going back to, they're not doing their own broadcast this year.
Oh, fuck.
Finally.
God's sake, it was so bad.
Because basically every year Monaco used to do their own broadcast. And they had their own team.
Again, that had to go.
Hence why
they had to. Lance
Stroll. Yeah,
just cut away.
Battling.
That was crazy.
Well, I mean, hopefully, it'd be much better now. But but that's just like seeing the fucking I don't know Magnussen and Leclerc scrapping in Miami. Or Tsunoda.
And this is the thing: you do still get good moves like Tsunoda at Miami, crazy. And I still maintain that Stroll move around the outside at Jeddah. That's the best move of the season. That was unreal on the first lap. So you can still get these good battles. You can still get these amazing overtakes. I think, you're right, though. I feel like we've got a little bit too comfortable with how DRS operates. I think maybe switching it to a system where it gets you to a point where you are alongside and you are battling, but not just breezing past in an overtake is the next generation of it.
Yeah.
Because I think that would then give you a lot more battles rather than going past.
And again, it's important to remember that, Red Bull have made an unreal car and they are clear of the rest. So, of course, when Max is putting these DRS overtakes, it's going to look, and when he went past Lewis in Australia, it's not going to look good. But then when you add the context of, Lewis went a second slower in that sector anyway, because he was saving, he was what's the point of defending? And, the fact that Red Bull's just a really great car, I just think a combination of a bit more patience with the regulations, I do believe that it's the best we can realistically hope for. And it was always going to take at least 2 years for any kind of, meritocracy field spread to kind of develop because of the historical, the big teams were spending tons. And it's no surprise that Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull are at the top still because, 2019 was when this was announced. So they've been working on it since day,
Exactly. So all in all, moral of the story, please stop saying that shit races from the past were amazing. What I will say is, I do still, of course, have an affinity to that era. We all do. We grew up in that time.
Absolutely, man.
Please fucking bring back the liveries. Oh my God, those cars look lame back then. That's what I will say. Aesthetically, that era was sick.
Obviously, the sound of the cars was a lot better.
Cool. But that's going to be... apparently, obviously the engine sounds are going to change again in 2026, right? We're going to
what with the new half hybrid, half electric.
Hopefully, we'll get better sounding cars again then, and that might you never know.
Yeah, maybe
solve the problem a little bit. Yeah, but please bring back the liveries. Oh my God,
yeah,
they were cold.
Which one's coming to mind?
Jaguar, straight off the bat. Orange arrows, anything that's colourful. Jordan, the West McLaren.
Yeah, because that teams are a bit scared of colour now, aren't they?
Man, just bare grey. I mean, I know, weight loss and that. We don't want to paint the cars.
But that shouldn't be so much of a thing, not from next season anyway.
Yeah, man. Because
everyone's down at the weight limit.
Bring back colours, please.
More colourful.
That's all I'm really asking for.
Yeah. More colourful
Williams
cars.
just bring a pink car next year or something. Do you know what I mean?
Williams is, I wish it could be so good.
Yeah,
got so many iconic, more iconic. Bruv, why are we not getting sick brands like we used to as well, sponsoring F1? Why have we not got Canon?
That happens everywhere.
There's more money in F1 than ever. There's more value to having your brand in F1 than ever.
It's happening everywhere though. Again, I always go back to football as my comparison point, but football sponsors are not as good as they used to be.
No.
You used to have
Doc Martens, West Ham.
Doc Martens was literally what I was going to go with West Ham. We had Carlsberg.
Yeah.
You could buy a football kit and know whatever the item sponsor is, on the kit. You've probably got it in your house somewhere.
Yeah.
O2, your phone network. Like Carlsberg, you got it in the fridge. Doc Martens, you're wearing them, sort of thing. Whereas now it's all just like, I don't know, crypto sponsors and things like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Fighting like betting companies.
Vodafone, man.
But it's the same with Formula One. You'll just get like companies that are like
Panasonic. That you still do stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like these companies have gone out of business.
No.
Like, they're still there.
Yeah.
You still have them. I don't know, maybe they just
And
don't
everyone's
think...
bigger than ever. That's what I mean. Like, it's bigger than ever. It's bigger than it's ever been in terms of audience. So in terms of...
you probably do, but do you know what Cognizant does?
I did a video on them. But you know what? I did a video on them, and they actually reached out to me after and was like, oh, would you like to do another video?
Sponsor.
I still don't really know what they did. Like, I can't remember because it was so, like... just dry.
Yeah, it's these like boring sort of like finance companies. I'm like,
manage your workflow with systems, and I'm just like,
shut up, man.
Like, why have we got all these boring brands? It's such a good point.
Yeah,
like, bring back sick brands.
Yeah, I want to see like Sony on the Red Bull.
Yeah,
like, next
I'm
year.
not saying like fuck tobacco brands. Like, okay, they're iconic, but I'm not interested in smoking being promoted in F1.5. But like, there's just so many cool brands.
Just man, just interesting. There's got to be, because I'm thinking now. Obviously, like, I guess technically you've got Red Bull, but that's just the whole team. Like, I'm thinking,
Red Bull's like it's an energy drink.
It is an energy drink at the end of the day. But I'm actually trying to think what actual sponsor you've got on any car right now that you look at and go, oh my god, yeah, I might have that at home.
Like Duracell.
Oh yeah, Duracell
Williams.
That's. I'm thinking of that Alpine. I can't even. Oh, BW. No, I can't even think. Honestly, yeah, but it's some water.
I'm 95% water, so I'd be.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Yeah. So there's shouts out all the water companies. But yeah, I'm really trying to think, and I actually can't think of like McLaren.
This is a cool
McLaren have got Google Chrome.
Yeah. Chrome's cool.
It's only on the wheels, and it looks terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't love it on the wheels.
Basically, yeah, just bring back the old sponsors and liveries, man.
Bring back classic sponsors.
That's what we've got to do.
All right. Should we don't hate the past, but you know, in moderation.
In the past, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, man. Should we wrap it?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Good fucking shit.
We got a Monaco this weekend as well.
We have indeed. Yeah. What are your predictions, by the way?
Well, I did see old Jarno Okmir shared on Twitter this morning that there's rain forecast for Monaco.
Oh, interesting. So, okay, well, you see, now I'm interested again.
Could be a long day, because remember last time it rained in Monaco? There was about 57 delays, and it like we didn't think the race was going to go, then it did, then it didn't, and it ended up being quite a decent Monaco standard race.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, Monaco's that one track where Red Bull struggles tyre warm up, and it's all about qualifying. Yeah. So if any team's not gonna, if there's any race that Red Bull isn't going to win, it must surely be the Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah. Because of how difficult it is to overtake. Yeah, so you've got to maybe. I mean, Charles Leclerc is a bit cursed when he's driving at Monaco. He has to exercise those demons. He has to, yeah. If there's one place where you could go, right, cool. Charles Leclerc's unbelievable one lap pace might grab himself a pole and then keep it. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going Charles win. Yeah? Yeah, Charles win. What are you saying? I'm saying the master of street circuits. Jolyon Palmer. No, Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez. We could both sit here and go Max Verstappen because that's what's going to happen, but I don't do that. Yeah, we're going to do Sergio. I'm going to go for Sergio Perez. I'm going to go for Max second because I don't trust, as much as I want Charles to exercise those demons, I don't actually trust him to do so, or Ferrari, to be honest. Well, I'll go for Leclerc third. I'll give him a podium at home. I'm going Leclerc, Alonso, Perez. Ooh, yeah. No faith. We need some. I feel like that's a desire more than an expectation. Perhaps. But there's no problems with that. We don't have any problems with that. I'll put my hands up. Again, no offense to Red Bull. Half offense to Red Bull, but it's just, they're pissing me off. They're too good, man. Just stop being good. It's just that. Just allow it. Just allow everyone. Let us live our lives. It's the same with Mercedes. Yeah, man. The same with Ferrari when Schumacher was dominating. Yeah. Just come on. Just let someone else win just once. Don't get me. So.